So this is a fairly quick video of how to rip Perishton out of the game. I'm here in Navesgane, zombies disabled, and here's Perishton. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that it actually all generates. Looks like Perishton is actually kind of small. I thought it was bigger than this. So I'm going to fly around and make sure it all generates. It looks like there are 6 city blocks, so this should be a pretty quick rip. Nothing really big to see. One thing I also want to make sure of, though, is to see what the lowest underground level is. See if there are any underground levels. Looks like there's a water treatment plant, so I know there's going to be some underground levels. Because it's going to be important that when we rip each city block, that we rip them with the same layer count. In other words, the same height. So that even though this block might not have basements, because this one does, we want to make sure that we keep them the same level, so that way when we spawn them a random gen, we're all starting at the same level. So it looks like this is the only one. Alright, so this is actually a lot smaller than Dyersville, it looks like, as far as the block size goes. I could be wrong, I don't really know. So I'm going to go to the middle of the map. Well, that's pretty cool. I've never seen this building before. I should really play Nav more often. Let's see, obviously this is going to be the middle of the street. And when we're ripping it, we're not going to be able to get this little middle median, because we want it to spawn in random generation, and random gen has a prefab size limitation. It will not spawn in prefabs larger than X, Y. I really don't know what they are. I just know that this is going to be too big. So what we're going to do is we're going to rip each individual city block and call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever, and then create a custom random gen mixer, or ask Stompy to, and to bring these individual prefab blocks in. And that's going to be a whole lot better way of doing this. Or we could add the prefab blocks into the mixer by, well, I don't know, I'm not going to worry about that part because I don't know how to do it anyway. So basically find the middle, and then realizing this is kind of big, this is probably the middle right over these two lights, right? I'm going to need to change in-house the size that I'm going to be ripping from. So I'm going to go to the backup manager, and I'm going to choose Navesgane, Perishton, and see how it doesn't have my name here. That's because, well, for whatever reason, house thing hasn't generated it yet. So I really can't do a whole lot about it. So I'm actually going to exit out of this. Maybe see if I bring it back up. I still yet to figure out the rhyme and reason for like where the player name comes from and all that. So I'll exit out of the game maybe and see if it exiting out of the game fires something that makes it generate and show up in house. Show game launcher, disable EAC. Well, first of all, did that work? And that's still no name there. I don't know what the rhyme or reason is. Maybe I go in a second time. Maybe I reboot. Maybe the house has to be in the 7th moon or whatever. I really don't know the rhyme or reason. Ooh. So anyway, the general gist is going to be we're going to rip the whole thing, or rip it block by block. I'm going to go ahead and rip the whole thing and then separate it, because why not, just to show you how. Or we could just rip it block by block. It doesn't really make a difference, because as long as the height's the same, we're good. Actually, you know what? Ripping it block by block is going to be the easiest, quickest method. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to find the one with the lowest basement elevation, and then rip it first. That way we have a baseline of what 0 layer should be. And again, layers are the actual height coordinates, the height map. So layer 0 on ground is the ground. Layer -1 is one block lower. Oh man, this mouth oral surgery shit is killing my speech. This game ever gonna start? Jeez. Alright, so anyway, I'll tab back out. Maybe this time my name will be there. And again, it's still not there. Now you can theoretically add a name. I've never had good luck with this, so I don't know what the deal is. So I'm going to get in and out of the game a few more times and see if I can figure out how to get my name to show up. Okay, because I'm impatient and I still haven't figured out the magic formula that makes my name show up in here, I'm just going to go ahead, and since I know I have one in prefab, I'm going to go ahead into my prefab, and that's a game name by the way, users, and I'm going to see that there's a folder here. And then I'm going to go into Perishton, see there's users, there's no folder there. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this and paste it over here. And then maybe it'll magically add stuff. It definitely adds a lot of my, what do you call them, exported files. But I think it's this info file is what it's looking for. So I'm going to delete all the export files that I have in Perishton because I know they don't actually exist. And I'm going to look at info, and I see it's basically a text file. It's got my stream ID, block size, max claims, admin. I even have an area called apartment. So now, maybe if I go here, now I have a parish in here. So, and sure enough, there's that area called apartment. So that's a way of manually adding it, I guess. And I went ahead and deleted that area because I don't want to have that claimed area. Save it in RB. Oh man, I don't really know. Maybe because the game needs to be on. I don't know. Howl's editor has a few little weird issues with this. So, Navesgane, Perishton, Guppycur. I don't know. Maybe I need to be in the game. One day I'll figure out the magic sauce that gets names to show up in that screen. Alright, so I'm back in Perishton, and this looks like the first block I'm going to rip because remember it had the lowest layer. And I wanted a baseline. Maybe if I delete this now? Yeah, so I guess it's important to be in the game. So anyway, I want to make sure I have a claim size that's big enough. I don't really know how many blocks this is, but if that's one block, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, 20, 30, so I would think 151 blocks should more than cover this. So maybe I'll change it to like 121. And the reason why I don't want it too big is because it really does slow it down. So I'm going to save it, and see it's got reload complete up there. And then I'm going to do BBB claim block. We'll call this one, let's see. We'll start over there. And so we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this will be block 2. BBB, oops. BBB claim block 2. And it doesn't matter how high up I am because it's going to claim everything from bedrock to the skybox anyway. Now let's go see what this actually looks like. Prefab editor. Load from exported area. 7 data die. Saves. Navesgane. Perishton. Block backup. Users. My Steam name. Block 2. And then squeeze this out a little bit. Yeah, I think this is probably way too big. Well, you know what? It's actually pretty damn close to the right size. So let me go first to the highest point. Looks like there's nothing in there. Scroll up just to make, oh, it looks like there was, no. Hit the minus key on the keyboard, on the number pad. So it looks like this is the highest layer. This is layer 97 and to 254. So prefab, remove layers, 97 to 254. Now, I have all those other layers. Alright, so I'm going to scroll down and I want to find the bottommost layer. Okay, so it looks like 73 is the layer right below whatever this is. Some concrete blocks and some metal rivets. So I want to go from 73, so I want to go from 72 all the way to the beginning. So the beginning is 0, remove layers, 0 to 72. Now this means that it saves this layer as the first layer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I'm at ground, right? So basically I know that I want to start off at layer 72, or 0 to 72. So I'm going to remember that for all the other blocks. And now I'm just going to go ahead and trim the blocks to just the streets. This is a plains curb, so I'm going to F5. F6 for this side, F7 for the top, and F8 for this one up here. And now I've just exported this entire block. So I start off at, well, now it's called 0, but remember this is actually layer 73. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, ground. All right, so 9 is ground. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as block 2. Save as Perishton block 2. Alrighty, go back to the game. Well, I want to go back to block 1, I guess. It says it's going to be over there, right? Yeah. Try to line up to the center. This looks pretty close to the middle. Go ahead and back up the backup manager. Delete block 2 because I no longer want to claim that area. Save the player because I'm going to be claiming now block 1. Now I'm going to go over here, load exported area, block 1. Go to the highest area. So 99 is the highest area. 99 to 254 again. Remove, god damn it. Remove layers, 99 to 254. And now I'm back over here. And if you'll see, here is the lowest layer here, right? And because there's really nothing below this. There's no basements in this layer. So what would happen is if I save this just like this, when I spawned it in a random gen, because the bottom layer doesn't actually match what I had in the other block, it's going to actually change the height of one of these blocks. It's not going to be the same street level height because their prefab sizes are actually different. Now you could go fancy and make it so that you have it change the Y offsets to be accurate, but I'm lazy and I know I'm not going to do that. So now I'm actually going to go back and rewatch the video because I've already forgotten what what layer I started the last copy at. Be right back. So it looks like I removed layers 0 to 72. Okay, and you'll see I'm actually capturing now some of the ground. And now I'm going to trim it. Now you see I wasn't quite in the center, so there's a little bit more on this side, a little bit more on this side, but it doesn't matter because after I trim the sides, I'm trimming it to surround the block. They're going to be the exact same size squares. Assuming Perishton was built with the block sizes being the exact same, which they look like they are, so. Alright, so now I have layers 0 to 25. Save this one as Perishton block 1. Load up Perishton block 2 real quick. Hold on, I know what I did. Perishton block. That's not what the fuck I wanted to do. Perishton block 2. And this was only 23 high. So the height doesn't really make a difference because in random gen it's just going to stop at a certain height and the rest will be air. But the bottom layers do make a difference depending on how you change it in the mixer. So I have 0, 2, sorry, like I guess the first layer, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is street. And then on Perishton block 1, hopefully it should be the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is street. So I know that the heights are actually going to be the same, even though we've captured more layers. And anyway, I do that block to block. I only have 4 more blocks left to go, so hell, why not? That's 1, that's 2. I was going to do 3 over here. But you can pretty much stop this video at this point because you can see how, I'm doing it. What was that number again? 72. Gotta remember 72. Alright, year after I was born. Alright, that should work. So I'm going to go back to the backup manager. And the reason why I keep deleting these is because if they overlap, then it's just going to throw me an error, and it's just quicker to just do it this way. I mean, why not? BBB claim block 3. Chugga chugga woo woo. File, load exported area. Ah, shit. Change my friggin' default folder. Let's see, looks like we're going to, this one's higher. So 100 to 254. 100 to 254, this removes all the top air blocks. And then I want remove layers 0 to 72. First I'm going to look and make sure though, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. I'm going to go to 72. Okay, so there's nothing in here I didn't see wrong before. There really are no basements in this one. Move layer 0 to 72. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 street. So I know I'm good there. But looks like I fucked up. I'm not far enough south. So I actually chopped off some of this prefab. So back to the drawing board. Black block back up. Delete it. Save it. And then go a little bit farther south. Yeah, I can definitely not, I'm not definitely not over the center like I thought it was. Probably be better if I was closer to the ground, so I can better determine that. Left and right looks okay though. Right? Reclaim block 3. And now this is going to go a whole lot faster because I already know the parameters that I need to delete. I needed to load exported area, block 3, say yes because I want to overwrite the one that I want to overwrite this goofy one. Let me see if I got it right this time. Yeah, I did. So remove layers, and I want to go 100 to 254 if I remember right, which hopefully I do. And then remove layers 0 to 72. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ground. Trim, 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 trim. And I slow down because I don't want to accidentally trim too many layers, too many columns, or too many rows, because you can't untrim. I mean, you can always reload the block and start over, but who wants to do that? And since there's a delay when I press the button when it actually trims, I want to make sure I'm careful. Alrighty, so file, save as, block 3. Delete. 1, 2, 3. I'll just go this way. It doesn't really make a difference. Well, maybe it does because of this Perishton sign, so yeah. You definitely do want these to spawn in a certain order if you want to capture the signs. But you know what? Because I'm only ripping from the curbs anyway, it's not going to capture the Perishton signs regardless. So I'm going to go ahead and not go in any order in ripping these. Let's see, is this close to the center? Yeah, probably. Everybody remember? Claim block 4. File, load exported area, block 4. It looks like this is going to be 100 to 254 again. Remove layers, 100 to 254. And then, you know what, let me go down to 72. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Nope, still pretty good. Prefab, remove layers, 0 to 72. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, street level. Perfect. Oh, I got close there to accidentally deleting an extra line, extra column. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Block 4. Oops, 4. Oops. This thing, copy cur. Oh, I have 2 claims. I'm glad they didn't overwrite, so I didn't see that stupid error message. Save the player. I'm going this way, right? Yeah. I really don't think I've ever seen this building. But I also have a bad memory, so I might have. Let's look at the middle. Yeah, pretty close to the middle. Claim. Block 5. File. Load exported area. Block 5. So it looks like it's 119, so this is much higher, probably for that temple looking, steeple looking thing. So 119 to 254. Remember, 254 is the highest one. Prefab layer 19. Oops. 254. Can't type. And then let's go down to the 72s. Make sure there's no basements. See, no basements. 0 to 72. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Street. Trim, trim. Trim, trim, trim. Trim, 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 trim. You see how there's that little lag delay after I hit the button? Like trim, trim. You can sometimes really screw up and accidentally, trim too many columns, and then you got to start over again. You don't have to re-rip it. You just have to reload it, the load exploded area, and then rework, remove the layers again and rework it. And I just would rather not do that. But I know for sure there's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I get a little more careful as I go. File save as. This was block 5. Oops. This little puppy right here. And shit, where was I? I don't actually remember which direction I was going. I want to say I came from there. Yeah, I did. So this will be block 6. Looks to be about the center. BBB claim. Block 6. File, load exported area, block 6. Now what's cool is you'll see that it actually starts off, when HAL loads an exported area, it starts off to the highest layer that has something in it, which in this case is 109. Because when you go to 110, you know there's nothing there. So prefab, remove layers, 110 to 254. And then again, checking just to make sure I didn't miss any basements. I didn't. Well, looks like there is something here on layer 76, but it's okay because I'm removing 0 through 72. Remove layer 0 to 72. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Street. So again with the trim. Shit! And I did it. You see what I did? I accidentally deleted an extra column. File, load exported area, block 6, say yes. Prefab, remove layers 110 to 254. Prefab, remove layers 0 to 72. Go to the layer where I see the things at. Because I wanted to make sure they're all the same size so they spawn correctly. Alright, file, save as, block 6. Alright, so now when I'm looking at my program files, data, prefabs, Perishton, I got blocks 1, block 2, block 3, block 4. Oops, fucking always, no, fuck you. God, I hate that shit. When did Windows get so stupid? F2. And I'm only, fucking Christ, really? Retard. So anyway, I have blocks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that, I'm going to right click, send to, zip it, call it that. And when I look at the files in the zip file, it's basically all 6 blocks. So what's going to happen is somebody's going to need to write something in the rwgmixer that spawns each block as a prefab, and then the random generation algorithm will actually make the streets for it. So I don't know how it's going to look. Never spawned one. I always bring these in manually. But if you do spawn one through random gen, like I said, theoretically it'll spawn just like a regular town. Each of these blocks will be surrounded by streets, and it should look relatively the same. The orders might be different because depending on how you order it in the game, you may, I don't know how it works, but you may have like this block and then this block and then this block, and who cares? As long as you have the city blocks, so that's all that really counts. And that is how you rip Perishton.